And wide center, quick, fast.
My name is Jerry Nunn. I'm the chairman of the Royal British Legion Christchurch, and also with another hat on, I'm also the Poppy Appeal organiser for Christchurch, Southbourne and Tuckton.
Stand the bearers! Halt!
Number 1 division, move to the right, victory, right, hand.
My name is Paul Brady. I'm the branch secretary here for Christchurch Royal British Legion. I was in the army for 22 years myself. I left in 2008 and joined the Legion here in 2009.
We will remember them. My name is Father Darrell Jordan. I'm the associate minister here in the benefice of Christchurch, which is not just this Priory Church of the Holy Trinity is its full name, but the Priory Church as well as St. George's Church Jumpers, which is just up the road to our west, and St. John's in Purewell.
The poppy is a very, very strong symbol of today's bonding with all the conflicts that have gone on before, originating obviously after the First World War, and it gives us that connection all the way through and back to 1918.
The poppy is about remembrance, and it's a symbol of remembrance, and that's why every year around this time of year we go out and encourage people to buy, just to remember the people who have sacrificed their lives for this country.
The poppy actually historically refers to literal flowers which grew in Flanders fields. What it means for me is, for me, the altar and the precious blood of Jesus, then also the blood of the people who have died in conflicts to defend the freedoms that we experience, those virtues and freedoms that we often take for granted. And it's the poppy that stops us doing that, and it makes us remember rather than taking them for granted.
It's unique and single identity and reference for remembrance. It comes from the poppy fields in France at the end of the First World War, and it's a lasting tribute.
I fully support the poppy, and I fully support the Royal British Legion in their efforts to help the families back home. As a former Royal Marine Commander myself, having served in all over the globe, and having lost friends on a global basis, it's the one time of the year that I find that the nation comes together as one and remembers not just the First, Second World War, and not just servicemen, but everybody who died in conflict, but also the guys out there at the moment. And it's very important that the families are supported, because it's everybody back home that deals with the loss.
Poppy represents remembering all those who passed away and gave their life so that we in this country can live a peaceful life. We've had the longest length of peace we've known in a long time, but many conflicts have occurred since that time. In my time, between 1976 to 1988, there's various conflicts at Slough. And I do it every 1 year and remembers those who didn't come home. I remember all those I buried on the way. And I also remember my father and mother, and also my father and also father-in-law, whose actually graves near here, that I pass respect to them, so we can have our peaceful time we have in this country.
Hooray! Hooray!
It's something that I can wear with pride. It's something that I can wear to identify with all the people that have gone through this position, the Army, Navy, Air Force, and all our serving personnel. It's gone on before I joined the Navy and before I joined the British Legion. And it's a link. I feel that it's a link between what went on years ago and it is very, very relevant today.
Well, the poppy, I was always encouraged as a child to wear a poppy by my grandparents who survived World War II. They wore it to remember people who they knew had fallen during World War II. And as growing up, joining the Army Cadets and then, forming their opinion in my own mind that I wanted to be a soldier, and then joining the Army, and of course with losing friends in various operations that I've been involved in, it's become more of a symbol of remembrance for myself.
It reminds me that I am here right now because of others who have given everything that they have and are to the cause of freedom and liberty. So personally for me, the poppy tells me that I am here because others have given their lives for me.
Just recently, we have upped our game as far as the promotion of the poppy has gone. See from the posters behind, we encourage leading personalities in theatre and sport to endorse the poppy, which they do willingly. And this has given us a very high profile, certainly with the media, than we've had before. No longer do we just rely on posters attached around the town. We are now engaging with these personalities to promote the poppy and put it in the face of everybody. And it's interesting to realise that the poppy is the #1 charity recognised symbol. Everybody recognises the poppy and what it's for.
Anyone who has served or is part of the family who has served, of the servicemen, if they fall upon hard times, any difficult times, there's some kind of need that they can't afford or whatever, they can come to the Royal British Legion and they'll be assessed and we can provide all kinds of support from, like you say, recarpeting or recliner chair to EPVs, but also to send them away on poppy breaks. We can send visitors around to check that they're all okay and do various jobs around the house for them. There's a whole host of things that the Poppy Appeal provides for these days.
The Poppy Appeal at the moment, last year's Poppy Appeal raised £40 million, which sounds an awful lot of money until you put it into the context that the Royal British Legion is spending £1.7 million per week. do the math, and we're a little bit short even raising 40 million. The balance is raised by corporate funding, which is done from our head office in London, to put us up to that 1.7 million, which is close to 85 million a year. All that money goes into welfare and rehabilitation with not only our current serving troops, but also ex-serving troops, the veterans.
As a church, and especially as a civic church, we're the place you go for funerals. And so we recently, fairly recently, in the past summer, we had a funeral here. I didn't actually officiate at that funeral. It was the vicar, but there was someone who was local who had died, Luke, who was actually in the papers. And so we had a funeral service here. And so we are here for families to honor their dead, their sons and their daughters who might have died in conflict, or husbands. Obviously, all the different relationships. We're to support the people as well, and so obviously, before and after the funeral, there may be pastoral care that is involved with that. So generally, whoever takes the funeral will spend some time with the family, and then afterwards, we have a pastoral group here who actually will follow up with family through bereavement support and grief support. And we have people here specifically trained in order to be able to do that, to be more personal, to actually go into their homes and actually spend time with them.
Well, I was called up as a young man, and I was called up before the war, and I joined the Royal West Kent Regiment, and it wasn't long before we was sent out to North Africa to do the landings, one thing and another there, as a preventative to the German forces getting through to capture Gibraltar. And since then, I've come home and been a civilian, and from there on. And that's one of the reasons why I come on the 11th November to all these gatherings of the Remembrance Sunday.
For me, it's like respecting all my family that died in the war and remembering them.
We've got to encourage people from a young age. Here in Christchurch, we're looking to involve the cadets, the schools, everything. Encourage the young people to encourage them to learn about the past, what sacrifices have been made, why we should remember people, all those kind of things, and also what we're doing to help people and get young people involved, because I think if they get involved at a young age, they'll be encouraged to carry it on through their later years.
With the troops that are fighting, it is very, very important, and you'll probably see it in the news, that they engage just the same as the people at home in celebrating Armistice Day and 11/11. It brings them a lot closer to the community that they've came from, and for the people behind who are left behind, I think that engages as well, that they feel that little bit closer with a common bond that we're all celebrating 11/11, if celebration is the right word, because don't forget, it is a very, very poignant and sad time for a lot of our community. A lot of our community really feel emotional around about the 11th of November, and quite rightly so, because most certainly in our community, there are very few families that have not been touched in some shape or form.